But final segment, let's jump into our award predictions. We counted the playoff predictions, at least the seedings. If you got a team right, that's a point. If you got the team and the seed right, that's 2 points. Now we're going to do it for the awards as well. So we're going to even add on to see how good we are at predicting. So far, Dave is the king. 33 points for him. Ricky's got 30. I have 29. So close. And once we do this for 7 years, we'll start to see who
Sean's
actually.
I just have to add more categories.
I'm just saying, I seem to be pretty good at this.
You
have a
4-point lead. Congrats, dickhead.
Well, 3 point
that
on
could
me.
change after one season of the Nuggets being the 3 seed.
You mad,
3
bro?
point on me.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, a 3 point lead on me.
I'm talking for myself.
Oh, okay.
29.
Just disregard me there at 30.
No, I only care about myself. I'm a very self-centered, selfish person. But anyways, we are adding more, at least awards and more chances for me to gain points on Dave. And we do have MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, Coach of the Year, and Most Improved Player that we are picking. Last year, MVP went to James Harden. Defensive Player of the Year went to Rudy Gobert. Rookie of the Year went to Ben Simmons. Sixth Man went to Lou Will, Sweet Lou, out in LAC. Then we have Coach of the Year was not Brad Stevens, it was Dwayne Casey. And then Most Improved Player, we had Victor Oladipo with his 25 and 5. So Dave,
Spencer Dinwiddie was on that voting at third.
Hey-o.
Dave's team from the Nets.
We are going to start Most Improved Player and end with MVP. So that's the order that we're going to go with on our list. And we're going to go to Dave first. Most Improved Player for the 2018-2019 season will be...
Not even close. It's Giannis. I'm reading into the hype of everybody's like, now that the king has gone from the East, it's Giannis time.
Most Improved Player.
Yeah, that's what
I didn't hear.
That's what I was.
And Dave, how we're going to do it, we're going to go Most Improved Player to MVP, bottom to top on your screen. So we're going to
Jump cut
start...
because Dave didn't listen the
Yeah,
first
Dave did
time.
not listen. So we're going to start with
reading.
IMP instead of MVP.
Dave don't tweet, Dave don't read.
Give us your most improved player for the 2018-2019
It's got to be Markelle Fultz. I mean, he already was the youngest to get a triple-double, but I think that he will do so much more this year. And I know this award usually goes to guys who are third-year player. It's after you get those first 2 years onto you because it's rookie, and then obviously you don't want to give it to him the second year because it's like, well, we expected you to progress. But I think the level at which Markelle Fultz will progress is going to impress people. I think that he is going to be a standout stud, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. What can I say? The kid's going to be electric.
Ricky, give me your most improved player.
This is probably the only time I've gone homer on the podcast. I'm going Zach LaVine. I mean, because of the injuries that he had last year, and I mean, only having 16 points, 3 assists last year, I think Zach, although he came out of the preseason game, the first one with a thigh contusion, which they said shouldn't be long term, I think Zach LaVine's going to play well enough where we're not going to be a playoff team, but it's like, you know what? This Bulls team has a future, and Zach LaVine was very much improved being the leader of this Bulls team in 2018-2019.
The biggest thing that you look with the Most Improved Player award is typically they turn into stars. We see Giannis on the list, CJ McCollum, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. There's a Goran Dragic in there. There's a Ryan Anderson in there. Kevin Love's on there. Aaron Brooks is in there. Danny Granger, Hito Turkoglu.
Remember Danny Granger?
He was great. Injuries, screwed him over.
Really sad.
Like last year's was, did you mention Vic already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already talked about it a little bit earlier. So I have to pick someone who I think is going to be a star. And I think a way that they're going to be a star is not only the market they're in, but the player they're playing next to. And we are so high on Brandon Ingram. And I think this is going to be the year he does it. I think he's going to put it all together. He's a fantastic shooter. He's phenomenal at dishing the ball.
KD light?
KD light, but I think in much different ways. Obviously, he's got the same Skeletor look, but
he's the
different skill set in the way that he was starting for the Lakers at point guard last preseason game because of his ability to dish out.
I think there was about 15 games at the end of last year where he also was point guard.
And that might change throughout the regular season because they do have LeBron as well, and they have Lonzo, they have Rajon Rondo. Yeah. But I think he's going to be able to do the distributing part very well. He's going to pull in boards. And I think he's going to be extremely efficient with LeBron, Rondo, and Lonzo dishing the ball out to him. And I think he's going to be the second option when it comes to scoring. I think he's going to put up maybe 18 to 20 points this year. I think he's going to be an efficient 45, 39, and then, he's not that great of a free. He's an alright free throw shooter. Maybe like 80 from the line. I don't want to get too high because I'm not crazy off the top of my head when it comes to free throw. I think looking back at his free throw, or thinking back to when he was coming out, I don't think he was a great free throw shooter. Might have changed though. I can't think off the top of my head, but I really think that he is going to take that next jump, and especially what you think of the Lakers. If they do become a 3 seed and he's the second best player on that team, I think he's going to get most improved player.
I completely agree and love the take. I just didn't take it because you did.
You want it. You're like, do we both go Brandon
Yeah,
Ingram?
I thought about
You're
it,
like,
but I was like, look, I think BI is going to put up like 20, and it's not going to be a big question because he is the second best player on that team in my mind. He has such an amazing length to him that he goes through the lane like a knife through butter. It's hilarious watching him go through. The problem with him is his turnovers, obviously. Just the way he dribbles, sometimes it can be a little high, it's a little lazy, but like for the majority of his game, I'm just so excited to watch him play, watch him with the ball in his hands. And then the effort, like in the, like I talked about during the Western Conference stuff, the effort that he has in transition, like he's going to be running for him. He's going to get easy points left and right. You know, expect this LeBron James-led team to look similar as to that Miami Heat days when they were just running the court and chucking it.
And real quick, I'm going to just make an amend to my most improved player thing. I said he was going to shoot 45, 40, and then 80.
Yeah.
Totally wrong on his typical margins.
Yep.
He was 47 last year, 39 from 3, and then 68 from the line, so he was a bad free throw shooter. I think that field goal percentage is still going to go down because he's going to take more shots. I think that three-point percentage is going to probably stick around the same way, but I think he's going to take more threes and probably going to sit around a 70% free throw shooter. But I think he's going to get to 20 points per game. I think he's going to grab around maybe 5.5 boards and then 4.
I'm just basing off of like how many points. Like, look at, if we're saying he's the number 2 man, look at what Kevin Love did. You know, it's how much can one guy do for you? And I think that between the 2 and 3 on Cleveland last year, you take a look at the 2 and 3 on the Lakers right now, and you go, all right, so yeah, they've got a lot of points that they need to fill up. Last year he was at about 16 a game. So this year he can definitely bump up 4, no problem.
And I don't think Kuzma's going to take a dip. So I think Kuzma's still going to put out a nice percentage, but Ingram's going to be in the starting lineup. And I don't think you can really, put up the same stat margin and then also be most improved player. So I think Ingram's really going to step into a role that is extremely visual, and this is going to be a team that's going to the playoffs. So I think that's going to be a reason why. So I think the one thing with the Levine pick is just you don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So I think it's going to be tough for him to win most improved player and not be in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying, Ricky?
I mean, if he can carry them, though, that's one of the things. Like, he was such a great shooter on the Timberwolves. And I think back to that, and I'm like,
but that wasn't a third option.
Do the Bulls need to make the... That's the question I had. Do the Bulls need to make the playoffs for him to be most improved? Or can they miss the playoffs, but he can be the true number 1, and you can see, like, hey, he could be the star of this team. Could he still be
If he puts
MIP?
up, like, 24, probably, like, 24, 3, and 5, like... I could see him being most improved. Like, it's a walkway, and they could be like
not injured.
They could be like a 9 seed or a 10 seed, and he could have that stat line. I'd be like, yeah, he's most improved.
My thing though is I was going to go Aaron Gordon, this dunk contest buddy, but I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. That's why I went away from him. But he's been growing incrementally every single year. 5 points to 9 points to 12 points to 17 points. I think he could be a guy that puts up 23 points. And he's improving as a three-point shooter. He's improving as a shooter. He's improving as a passer. He's just improving in general. I think he's only 23 years old.
It's literally the only player they've developed on that team.
Yeah, I think this might be the season that Aaron Gordon really steps into his own and could fight for that most improved player in even not making the playoffs for his team. So I think that's going to be a fun race because people always come out of the woodworks. We don't know exactly who it was going to be.
D'Angelo Russell. Yeah. That's my like guy who I'm like just outside. I love talking about him. So
no one expected Vic to have the season he did, and he was absolutely phenomenal and totally worthy of that award. And we'll see what happens. Who comes out of the woodwork this year? Spencer Dinwiddie came out of the woodwork last year and got it for what's it called?
He was a top 3 in the voting.
Top 3. So let's move to Coach of the Year. Last year was Dwayne Casey, and I'm going to go to Ricky first because he's so pissed off that Dwayne Casey won the award last year.
I mean, only because the guy who's going to win it this year should be back-to-back Coach of the Year, and that's Brad Stevens. Like, this Celtics team, the only reason they made it as far as they did last year was Brad Stevens put that team in the right situations to win. He makes that team what it is. And this year we're going to see, wow, this Celtic team, they've got talent on that team, but without Brad Stevens, they are a vastly different team, and he's going to be Coach of the Year.
I agree that Stevens is going to be Coach of the Year because typically, if you have the most wins in a season, you are seen as Coach of the Year. And obviously, it's going to be him versus him or Kerr. but I think Kerr's already done it. We see the talent difference between those teams.
We're bored with excellence.
I think it's going to be Stevens. It's going to be his year that he finally gets it because people were saying he was still the best coach in the year. Last year, but they felt like they needed to give it to the Raptors just because of what
they did in the East and dominating the regular season, which it's a regular season award. You know, to remind everybody because we all overlooked that because the award comes out so late in the year. It's like really because last thing I remember was him just running into LeBron's face.
I think Stevens is going to get it though, just because again people were like, even when Dwayne Casey won it, they're like, really, is he the best coach of the year? I think it's going to end up going to Stevens. Who do you have?
I have Rajon Rondo. Yeah. Pretty controversial take. I think that he's going to win coach of the year.
So not Luke Walton.
No.
Or LeBron James.
No, probably not.
So not one of the two coaches.
No,
LeBron the third coach.
It'd be the third coach in Rajon Rondo.
Who's it?
Honestly, I want to go Mike D'Antoni. Like he's a guy who doesn't get credit for the excellence that his team has been doing. They just went out last year, won a shit ton of games, finished number 1, and no, let's give it to the East.
Why do you think he's going to win it this year?
Let's make the East feel better. I think that him turning around Carmelo Anthony is going to be the biggest thing. Him being able to succeed with guys who haven't succeeded elsewhere. Him with a redemption story for Brandon Knight, Michael Carter Williams, being able to do these things again and being able to repeat success again and win 65 games or something monumental like that. I think there's a chance that this Rockets team can repeat and do it again.
I just think with D'Antoni and media award members, it's going to be tough for him to do it. And although we might see improvements in Michael Carter Williams, Brandon Knight, and even Marquise Chris and Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
I don't know if those names are going to be big enough and if the improvements are going to be significant enough for people to notice and take notice of that. But I think D'Antoni definitely is deserved.
He's revolutionizing the way teams are building right now. I think there's got to be some credit given to him in that front.
Let's move now to the six-man. Six-man last year was Lou Will. Most likely could be a starter this year. Has played very well in the six-man role past couple of years. We'll see where he is.
To roll him off the bench again.
Yeah, he could be back-to-back winners for the Six-Man of the Year award.
Yep.
But let's go to it, and we'll start with Ricky, who spelled his winner's last name wrong. Who is your Six-Man of the Award winner?
No, mine is Rajon Rondo, where he is one where, yes, he's the starter right now. However, when I look at it, it's when Lonzo comes back, he will then become the starter, and Rajon Rondo. I looked at it, and I'm like, I did not spell his name wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
But Rajon Rondo is my sixth man, and part of the reason why Lakers are going to be where they are in the playoffs.
Good take.
I don't think he's going to be qualified for the six-man role because he'll have too many starts. That's just my opinion. I've got Eric Gordon. I'm taking the easy money here. Like, it's Lou Will, it's Eric Gordon. They've been at the top of this for a couple years now, and he deserves to be there. Eric Gordon, maybe there's a theme. My coach of the year, my six-man of the year. I think the Rockets are a good team.
What happened to Reek?
Look,
I mean, that was your number one six-man going into the season.
I know. I think he's going to regress. I don't think he can put up 25-5 again. I look at that Pacers team, and I think that enough guys are good enough that he's not going to be putting up 29. I think he's probably going to be at like 16. I mean, I know it's not a big difference, to you guys, but like to me, I look at that number and I'm like, he's going to have a great impact. The Pacers are going to be a really good team. But when I look at six man, it's how much do you contribute to the success of a team? And I think beyond obviously Clint Capella, James Harden, and Chris Paul, like literally the next most valuable piece is Eric Gordon on the team that won the most games last year. So I have to believe that Eric Gordon, again, is going to contribute a lot to these wins that they're going to get this year.
Also, just Reek was 19-5-5, not 25-5.
Oh, okay.
That was Victor Oladipo. But still, regression would not be shocking because he hasn't had that good of a season.
I would say since his rookie year, which was 25-5.
Now let's move to Rookie of the Year. Last year, Ben Simmons won it controversially, whatever. But we have full rookies this year. No one thinks Harry Giles is going to win it. But let's look at Rookie of the Year.
No.
We're going to go to Dave first. Dave, who's your Rookie of the Year? Because I've already given out this award. I gave it out draft night.
I want to agree with you. But DeAndre Ayton's going to have the stats that just look like ridiculous. Like, have you watched him play in the preseason? Mm-hmm. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's swatting fucking flies out there. Like, it's nothing. He's going to put up like 20 and 12 in his rookie year. I'm floored with the level that he's coming in at. And I think that because he's on a bad team, he's going to have ridiculous numbers. So I think that, well, I want to say it's the obvious option because he was the number one pick in the draft and everything.
Yeah.
I like my boy Luka over there, but it's just the numbers are going to be too much to look away from.
It's tough to say he's going to put up 20 when the last time someone put up 20 was Blake Griffin in 2010, 2011. So a rookie coming in and putting up 20 is a lot. Not saying DeAndre Ayton can't do it, but I'm just saying it's a lot for someone to come in and do it. He's on a bad team.
Have you seen the Suns?
He's got everything in his power to do it. I just especially with his team,
I think
the role he's going to be in. I think it's just going to be tough. That's why I had a little bit of difficulties putting him there. Ricky, you kind of went around the same thing with the 20-point score.
First I almost put Wendell Carter because I was thinking, you know what, like pure homerism there, but I think he's going to compete and do well, and I think it's going to be with him, not offense, but more of he'll have enough on offense, maybe like 12, 13, but more defensively what he brings to the table. But I had to go
kind of like a Al Horford.
Yeah, like a Al Horford. Sure, whatever you want to think of.
Jesus, shut up about Al Horford.
For me, I got to go with Trae Young because, I know right now you look at his preseason numbers, he's struggling from three. He's going to get that going, and he's going to have assist numbers that are just phenomenal to where I saw a clip. Maybe this is just me off of this one clip. I don't know. But the one clip, he just one-hands it through a defender's legs to his teammate who puts it in for a dunk over another opposing player. He's going to not change the game, but fit perfectly into what this NBA is, and he'll be the Rookie of the Year at the end of the year.
He's too boom or bust in my mind. He's going to have usage, but I think it's going to be he could put up 20, but also do it on 40, 30 shooting. He could be very inefficient. Yeah. That's the biggest worry I have with Trae Young winning that award. I'm not worried at all for the guy who just dominated the second best professional league in the world to come in and be really great in the NBA. It's Luka Doncic. I said at draft night, 15, 7, and 7. We're saying the Mavericks are a dark horse for the playoffs last year. This was a team that was intentionally tanking that really didn't get significantly better. Yes, they added DeAndre Jordan, but the biggest addition
significantly better.
Is it though? Because again,
Is it though?
But he's not the third option on that team. He's going to be the fourth option. It's going to go probably Harrison Barnes maybe first option, Luka second option, Dennis Smith Jr. third option, and DeAndre Jordan fourth option.
Where's Dirk on that list, Ricky?
17. He's in the top 10.
But with Luka Doncic,
I don't know.
He took their at least ability to win up significantly. And this is a 19-year-old rookie. And we look at what we've seen so far, he's going to start slimming down more. He's going to get quicker. He's going to get faster. He's been tired from playing so much in the East, in the European League.
96 games in 3 years or something.
He's played so much that he finally took a break. He put on a couple, some weight, but also I think he's going to be able to take that down throughout training, throughout playing, and throughout working out. That he's going to get back into game shape, and even if he's not in game shape, he's looked fantastic. And the only player that was able to stop him so far and make him look bad was Ben Simmons, who is one of the best defenders and probably underrated defenders in the NBA right now. So Luka Doncic is going to be able to come in here and put up 45, 38, be great from the line, probably about 80-plus from the line, and put up 15, 7, and 7. Luka Doncic is a fantastic player. He's going to prove it this year. Luka Doncic, I said at draft night, I'm not worried that he's not going to do that. Because even if Ayton puts up 20 and 12, Mavericks are going to be better, and Luka's going to have a very impressive stat line to go with it. He's going to have a Ben Simmons-esque stat line when it comes to, I think Ben was 16, 8, and 8. I think Doncic can do 15, 7, and 7. I think that's going to be where Luka is. I think Luka's going to win Rookie of the Year as a true rookie, if some people want to say it. I
don't want to do it because I don't want to jinx him.
Luka Doncic, though, is going to be the...
I'm like Ricky with the freaking Minnesota Vikings. I won't do it. I won't say it.
Yep.
Luka Doncic will be Rookie of the Year. Who's sleepers? You said Wendell Carter. Who got his first sleeper for this award?
My sleeper for this award, let's go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay. I think that Wendell Carter is a good one. One guy that we didn't mention at all, I think Marvin Bagley. This guy last year put up 20 and 12. Not saying it's going to happen, but on a bad team, hell, we never know what can happen. Maybe come December.
Did you see that lineup
December.
The Kings played with?
Yeah.
Frank Mason and 4 centers.
They're a real bad team, Dave. They're a real bad team. But maybe Marvin Bagley comes out and does it.
I don't think he's the best rookie on his own team.
Really?
Harry Giles.
Oh, no.
Give me the Giles Miles.
Get out of there. Let's go to Defensive Player of the Year, though. This one might get a little bit shaky.
We're going to look back at that and laugh.
Defensive Player of the Year last year, it was Rudy Gobert. Dave, who do you got winning Defensive Player of the Year?
Bold call here. I'm going Rudy Gobert. Some people don't think he can do it again. I think he's going to be phenomenal for a long time. I think defensively, we watched him play part of a year and basically change their direction, push him right into the playoffs. I think he can do it. I think a whole year of Rudy Gobert, this team's probably going to be, I'm not going to say they're going to set a record for defensive efficiencies, but they're going to be one of the best defensive teams. All they've done is get better. Like I look at their offseason, like you didn't get worse, not even like 1%. If everyone progresses, this team is just fucking scary on the defensive end. Like that's for them. They just need to figure out, how do we score more points? How do we become more efficient on offense? But I'm not worried about that because I think that Rudy Gobert defensively is just nothing comes near the net. Nothing comes near.
I mean, and we saw what the effect they had on that team, and the team wasn't a playoff team before he came on and changed their team defensively. They were good defensively without him.
Yeah.
They were great defensively with him. So, I mean, it wouldn't be shocked if that happens. Ricky, who's your defensive player of the year?
Mine, I went through a thought process. The first one, I was like, Kevin Durant, just because he was like, I'll never win defensive player of the year because they kind of disrespect the Warriors because of our greatness. Then I was like, no, he ain't going to win it. Then I was like, it's going to be Rudy Gobert back-to-back. And then I went, oh, no, Ricky, you are stupid because there is a player coming back this year that is going to the weaker conference who is just going to maul guys defensively, and that's Kawhi Leonard. He's going to have a resurgence this year. He's going to be the best defensive player in the league and be defensive player of the year.
I can't really say no to it.
I mean, he's nothing you said was wrong there.
One of the best players in the NBA, and it's because he's probably one of the best defenders, and also two-way players in the league.
And he might get it mainly because, we forgot how good defensively he was because he didn't play last year.
That's a good point. But also, he's not going to be able to shut down LeBron James because he's out of the East, so we'll see.
No,
so who's his... I mean, if
Jason
Tatum? Yeah, so that's
Ben
not very
Simmons?
impressive.
Yeah, okay,
He's going to shoot.
maybe?
He's going to shut down the guy who can't shoot.
Victor Oladipo?
I mean...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Giannis? That's probably his best shot.
Yeah.
Giannis is also a nominee, I think, for this award. I was going to go with Anthony Davis for this award, but there's only two players to ever win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. It's Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. Both players were the best players in the league when they did win it. And I don't think it's going to happen this year for Anthony Davis because I don't think he's the best player in the NBA. I think it's tough for him to do both in the same year, and I also don't think he's the best defender in the league. Best defender is probably Rudy Gobert, but also I don't think it's going to be Rudy Gobert because outside of his effect, we saw his effect because of his injury. I don't think we're going to see that, even though the team's going to be great defensively.
Full year of sustained 80-something defensive rating. Would be hilarious.
He's a monster. He's an absolute
and
stud.
People, again, I'm just more stoking the furnace on this one. They do like to ride the same guy a couple of years if he's good. I mean, you look back in the past, Kawhi Leonard, multiple-time winner. Dwight Howard, multiple-time winner. Ben Wallace, twice in two different sets. It's just something that, I've got a feeling that there's a good chance for a back-to-backer.
I think there is. And I'm not saying if Gobert definitely has the ability to.
Yep.
Only 7 perimeter players have ever won the award.
Ooh. That's a good stat.
Kawhi Leonard has won. Sidney Moncrief has won. Alvin Robertson has won. Michael Cooper, Michael Jordan, Gary Payton, Ron Artest, now known as Metta World Peace, and Kawhi Leonard. We are about to have the 8th perimeter player and possibly the 2nd point guard to win.
Ooh.
Although he's a 6'10" monster in Ben Simmons. I talked about Joel Embiid going out. I think that it's going to happen. Again, a minor injury. And I think we're going to see the 76ers defense not falter. And I think teams are going to realize and players are going to realize that Ben Simmons is probably the best defender on the 76ers. And I think this is a guy that last year had 1.7 steals and about a block a game. I think that's going to go up to 2.5 steals and for sure a block a game this year. And I think we're going to see a defensive rating that is ridiculous from Ben Simmons. This team is still going to play well without Joel Embiid. This defensive anchor is not Joel Embiid. He's the most fun and exciting player on that team. But Ben Simmons, I think, is the most well-rounded and best player. And he's going to be able to body up point guards. And also you're getting the ability to play next to Markelle Fultz, who has proven to be a very good defender in very limited time. I think it's going to go to Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons, I think it would be Anthony Davis, but I don't think he's going to be both defensive player and MVP. I think Ben Simmons is going to slide in there, especially if the injury happens, and he shows his worth without Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy who was number 2 in defensive win shares last year. His defensive rating, I think, was like a 102. He's so good.
And yet he didn't finish in the top 3 because of Joe.
Yeah.
Joe was seen as the best defender. I don't think that's true. I think it's Ben Simmons.
Yep.
So those are my thoughts on that. But let's move to MVP. Last year was James Harden. Ricky, what do you got winning the award?
Mine, like I mentioned in the first segment, if the Lakers are going to make the Western Conference Finals, LeBron James needs to go off. LeBron James, MVP. He is going to have a bonkers year. He is in LA. He's going to make a statement. I'm the best player in the league. MVP LeBron wills them to the Western Conference Finals.
Why? What is a bonkers year from LeBron? Because we have gotten so used to LeBron being LeBron. He's been the most efficient he's ever been in the past 3 years, and he's still putting up great numbers.
When I say bonkers, it's what we usually get from LeBron. Just take LeBron from last year, put him on a better team, and people are going to go, oh, like voters are going to go, oh, wow, look at what he's doing. Plus, with him playing in the West, doing what he did last year, people are like, the voters are going to go, well, he must be better. No, he's the exact same. He's just in the more talented conference now. So I think that because of that, we're fine. And that's another thing. Are we ever going to award LeBron with another MVP? Because like he should get it just every year, but that's besides the point. I think with him moving to the West, the harder conference, he's going to get the votes to win the MVP.
One thing I will throw out there, LeBron in 30 games against the Western Conference last year, 26.3 points compared to 28 points against the Eastern Conference, 9 rebounds, which is more than he had against the Eastern Conference, but also less assists, 9.3 against the Eastern Conference and 8.9 against the Western Conference. Also, his true shooting went down, his field goal percentage went down, his three went down, and his free throw went down. So, I mean, he did kind of struggle a little bit more against the Western Conference.
He is facing harder competition. So. I mean, we're going to have basically last year, I couldn't believe he was, basically 20, I think 27 and a half, 8 and 9. Like, I mean, are we talking like triple-double LeBron James? Or are we talking like 31-point LeBron James? Is that what it's going to take? Do you think that on this Lakers
Warriors
team,
conference,
on this Lakers team, he has to put up over 30 for them to be,
No, I don't think he has to put up over 30 to win the award, but he has to be close to what he was last year, which I think he's just going to go to me, another level with this team this year.
I think for LeBron to win it, because I haven't finished second because it is LeBron.
Yep.
I think for him to win it, he has to do something where he takes this Laker team from out of the playoffs to the second seed or the third seed. Like he has to do something with the team.
I like it.
Rather than the the individual performance.
We've seen the individual performances from James Harden and Russell Westbrook these past 2 years stand out. So it'll be very interesting to see what kind of a number, or if it's going to be more of a team effort to get him there.
Who is your most valuable player?
My most valuable player is Giannis. It's very simple. He's gotten better every year, and if he gets better this year, no one will have a better stat line than him.
It got better,
which is crazy. But like he will be, in that upper echelon of, we talk about him being a top 10 player. Now it becomes, is he in the top 5 range? Like there is something scary to be said about a man who is 7 feet tall, who has an incredible wingspan, who can run down the court in like 5 steps. And just brings such a level of enjoyment and fun to the game that, honestly, there's just something special about this kid. So last year, just to remind you how good he was, he put up 27, 10, and basically 5 with a steal and a half and a block and a half a game. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Every year up to this point, he went point-wise from 6.8, 12.7, 16.9, 22.9, 26.9. So if he continues the trend and puts up, 29 or 30, 10 and 5, like, I'm sorry. I think that man is the MVP. I don't think there's a whole lot of conversation to it. I think if he can drag this sorry-ass Bucks team to the playoffs again.
I mean, they got a better coach this year.
They got a better coach. They still have the same problems. We'll see what happens to this team. But I think I expect no chance of regression. I think that he is still young. He's still going. He's 24, 23 still. Like, come on. This is, for me, it's just he's the next bright star of the league, and I can't wait till he gets there.
I know where you're coming from, and I understand.
I want to crown his ass.
I don't blame you, because the kid's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But he is not the guy to take that next step into stardom. He is not the next guy to take his step into the top 3 player conversation. It's Anthony Davis. AD's winning it without playing with DeMarcus Cousins. We look at what he did, at least from the injury that happened against the Houston Rockets all the way to the game against San Antonio to end the season. In those 33 games, he shot 51% from the field, 33% from 3, 83% from the line, scored 30 points per game, 11.9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3.2 blocks. And then also we look at what he did in the playoffs. He was absolutely dominant, 30 points per game, 52% from the field, 82% from the line, 13 boards, 1.7 assists, 2 steals, 2.3 blocks. If he does something where he's putting up 30 points per game, possibly leading the league in scoring, about 13 boards per game, also over 2 blocks and 2 steals per game, there's no way he doesn't win it. I know, and they're going to be in similar situations because they're going to be bottom half of the West and East, but also being bottom half of the West is more important than being in bottom half of the East. And I think we're going to see Anthony Davis have a phenomenal defensive year. He's going to lead this Pelicans team, and he's going to put up over 30 points per game. I think it's a similar argument for those players, but I think AD is just going to win it because he's in the better conference, and I think it's going to be more important that he's doing it in the West compared to the East.
We'll see.
I think LeBron does finish second, though, and I think Jokic finished third because that was my hot take.
I was wondering who'd remember.
All right. Those are our playoff award predictions as the camera turns off, so there's no point in restarting it. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast.
Dave just flicked them off.
Watching this segment.
I know such thing, fans. I would never.
Because this is about 90, 80 to 80 and then 50, so about 90 minutes, so about an hour and a half, a little bit over an hour and a half. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you liked our predictions. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to tweet at us at MostValuablePod if you have any thoughts. You could DM us. You could slide into them DMs if you feel like it. And also, if you have the chance, rate us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars if you feel like it. I think we're closing in on 40 reviews. Nice. You could also check out Dave's shirt that he was wearing through the podcast on mostvaluablepodcast.com, and also check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. I know we're going to have our boy Jake on at some point. We'll have him on and talk about the Philadelphia 76ers because I believe his 1 year anniversary is coming up. And
that'd be pretty special.
We got to talk to Z, right? So we'll get Z on the line as well and talk about some Suns basketball because we know he is a dedicated Suns fan. So if you want to be like Z or Jake, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. But for Dave Oster, for Ricky Widmer, who is yawning, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.